Driving. In warm weather, cold weather, back roads, highways, and parking lots, for many of us, it's something we take for granted that we'll do on any given day as much as waking up and breathing. One thing we may overlook, though, with all that we take for granted, whether we realize it or not, is just how much attention we pay to how safely we're driving. If only there were a hands-on class that taught such skills. Well, there is, and this next story takes us a little off the beaten path to a place that used to be the old South Weymouth Naval Air Station. It may seem like we're in the middle of nowhere, but that's really how it has to be, because what they're using is an old airstrip, which is just enough room for them to perform the maneuvers that they'll be doing, and it's the kind of stuff that you can't do in your old high school parking lot.
The things that we do, you really need as much space as you can get so that no one gets hurt, there's nothing to run into, but we also want them to make mistakes. And what the course is all about is it's crash prevention. We put people into an emergency situation, teach them how to stay in control of the car. What's really interesting is a lot of folks don't realize the United States used to be the safest place in the world to drive. Back in the 70s, we had the lowest death rate per capita of any country out there. Today, we're pretty much in the 40th place every time the statistics come out. So we got a lot of room to grow. And in these countries where they see far fewer crashes, this type of training is mandatory. In fact, a lot of ways they approach drivers in bringing drivers onto the roads with them is completely different than we have here in Massachusetts.
The In Control Family Foundation is a nonprofit group with 3 other training locations in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, Westfield, Massachusetts, and North Andover, Massachusetts. Each site features 2 classrooms, one behind the wheel and the other behind a desk. Here in Weymouth, students get their lessons inside this trailer before putting their newly acquired knowledge into practice in one of these test cars. The first of those tests involves doing an emergency panic stop while traveling at 60 miles per hour.
Next thing we're going to have them do is this slalom, where they're going in and out of cones at increasingly faster speeds. And what that does is actually get them to appreciate the importance of their seatbelt. It teaches them the proper hand position. A lot of people are still driving with 10 and 2, or worse yet, 1 with their hand at the top of the wheel and their seat way back and the radio turned up. You really need to have your hands at 9 and 3 so you can have the best control of the vehicle and keep your hands away from the airbag so you don't hurt yourself if there is a crash.
For anyone that wants to know what it looks like maneuvering through those slalom cones at 35 to 40 miles an hour from the back seat while trying to hang onto a camera and tripod, this is it. It might be safer filming from outside of the car. Each exercise centers around a dramatic event with practical applications while having the benefit of being done in a controlled environment. For example, the emergency highway lane change.
It really is the synthesis of what they learn in the program. Put them into an emergency, make sure they know you really need to apply the brakes before you start aggressively turning the car if something happens. And if they don't do it right, they're going to lose control. And again, because we have this huge environment, they're not going to run into anything, but they're going to come off the track and we're going to have to set them straight and start over again.
This next exercise really hammers home the importance of not tailgating. A traffic cone is tied to the end of a 50-foot piece of rope, which is attached to the car driven by the instructor. The students then drive in a car parallel to the instructors while maintaining that 50-foot distance. When the instructor's car screeches to a halt, watch what happens with the students' cars. In each case, the students would have gone right through the back end of the instructor's car.
Our goal is really to focus on crash prevention. We're not really working on basics. We're not trying to get people their license. We're trying to teach them ways to avoid crashes. So in a perfect world, somebody will go through traditional driver's ed and then come see us in that week or month before they're going to go for their license test. And we'll put them through some emergency situations, provide them some experiences, give them some skills. And then when they're out there on the roads by themselves, they're much better prepared.
Had I known ahead of time that they do this class year-round, I probably would have shot this over the summertime. Reporting from Weymouth and hoping to have a safer drive home, I'm Brian Sullivan for PCN Life.